Well, spanning 4 decades, Say Nothing is a series streaming right now on Hulu that explores the real-life extremes people will go to in the name of their beliefs in a deeply divided society. We have award-winning author Patrick Radden Keefe with us. Say Nothing is based on his book of the same name. Good morning to you, Patrick. What a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, the series begins in Northern Ireland, and we're going back to 1972 with the disappearance of a single mom. Patrick, share more about how that event sparked the series of events that followed.
Yeah, so in 1972, in the winter of 1972, in Belfast in Northern Ireland, there was this woman named Jean McConville. She was a mother of 10. She was a widow. She lived in a housing project with 10 kids. And one night there was a knock on the door and a gang of armed intruders came in, and they said to the children, "We just need to talk to your mother for a few hours. We'll bring her back in a few hours." And they took her away. The kids were clinging to her legs, and she never came back. And it was this mystery that kind of hung over the troubles in Northern Ireland. What happened to this mother of 10? How did those kids get orphaned? And part of the answer is the woman whose picture you see over my shoulder, another woman named Dolores Price, who was a member of the IRA. And so the story is really about these two different women, one of them a victim, one of them a perpetrator, and this act of violence that connects them.
It's, again, such a moving but very inspiring story here. Now, what interested you most about this particular story and how it unfolded over decades?
So when I do my work, I'm tending not to, I'm not doing history lessons, right? Like what I'm interested in primarily is kind of big, larger than life characters who can pull you into a story. And this woman, Dolores Price, and her sister had grown up in Belfast, and they joined the IRA when they were just out of their teens, and they lived this very dramatic life. They were the first women to join the IRA and kind of take up arms against the state. They went off to London and bombed London and went to Brixton Prison and went on hunger strike, and Dolores Price came out and married a movie star. They had these very dramatic lives, and that was really what kind of pulled me in. And then the idea that later in life, they looked back on some of the things they did when they were young with some real misgivings. And I was kind of interested in that idea of like, what if you look at somebody at these two different moments in their lives, when they're young and kind of radical and they're going out there and really living in a very extreme way. And then when they get to be older, frankly, the age I am now, and look back and think, God, what was I thinking when I was in my 20s?
That is something we all often do, right? Now, Patrick, I agree that these stories needed to be shared, and you do that so well. But when it came to the process of bringing the book to a streaming series, how were you involved in that, and what did you enjoy most?
It was a kind of a neat opportunity for me here because when the producers originally approached me, they said, right around the time the book came out, they said, "We don't want you to just give us the book and we'll go off and make the show. We actually want you to come on board as a producer and work alongside us every day on this project." So for me, that meant it was like going to film school, right? I got to learn about casting and cinematography and location scouting and all that kind of stuff. But also I got to be there to kind of protect the book and make sure that we did right by this story. And it was a 5-year process. We shot for 9 months. It's a big show. And I am so proud of the results. It's different from the book, but honestly, it works for people who've read the book and love the book. It also works for people who haven't read the book and don't know anything about the Troubles. It's really kind of a thriller that turns into a tragedy, and I think it's great, and I'm excited for people to watch.
Well, your work is nothing short of inspiring. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we will certainly be watching. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, everyone, Say Nothing, the series based on the book by Patrick Radden Keefe, is streaming right now on Hulu.